my God. Okay. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Good afternoon. I'm laughing for so many reasons. I'm laughing because how could I not laugh with this class? Okay. Hi. Okay. First of all right. We have some things to do today, but we largely have to wrap up. Um, oh my goodness. All right. I'm going to read the, oh my God. All right. Hi, John Ford. Hi, Jalen. Hi, Maisha. Hi, Wishi. Hi, Mark. Hi, Catherine. Good afternoon, Wishi. Good afternoon, Mark. Good afternoon, Catherine. Hi, Athea. Hi, Leslie. Good afternoon, Manoj. Good afternoon, Alona. What? Oh, weird. Okay, got it. Hi, Lizzie. More people coming. 1 second. Good afternoon, Jessica. Good afternoon, Andrew. Good direct message question. I'll answer that in a minute. But hello, John. John. Good afternoon, Rachel. Okay. Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry. 1 second. Okay. Sorry. Good afternoon, Rachel. Hi, Michaela. Yes, Starnisha's message is really the message of today. Yes, happy last class indeed. That mostly in this last class, we are going to deal with the fact that it is the last class in more ways than one. Yes, okay, hold on. Okay, right. So there are already questions about that in the direction. Yes, okay. I'm here mostly to send us off in as successful and calm way as possible. So I'm here mostly to make sure that any concerns or questions like that, like the ones I'm seeing in direct chat, which I will read in a moment, are addressed. Wait, hold on 1 second. Let me just see. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'm getting a bunch of things in the direct chat. Okay. And more people coming in. All right. So no, I love this class, and I only want to say positive things. I am almost sad that it's the last class, almost. But mainly today, I want to make sure we're set on all these kind of issues, particularly involving like the final, yes, like the final and the final grade and all that. No, the final's not really going to change. No, just that there's a lot of questions. So okay, so there are a lot of questions already, most of which some of which I have been trying to answer. Okay, but give me a second. So there's a lot of questions here in the direct chat and questions in the public chat. And now, but one question in the direct chat, and I'm going to read them, but one question in the direct chat asks me to check out something something might have gone wrong in the copy of the practice final. So I do want to check that right now. So, and more people are coming. So just bear with me, please, for a second. I do love this. Well, that's interesting, actually. I don't want to get to that one. Okay. Also, what Rachel just said in the public chat, I totally appreciate, and I'm excited if that's true. And I actually want to address that. If that's true, that's great. But hey, bear with me for a second, because I do want to get to all these questions, but somebody's, good afternoon, Ruby. Good afternoon. But somebody has, I'm not laughing at you, Ruby, I promise. I'm just laughing at how like chaotic this already is. And it's not your chaos, it's my chaos. But let me check. But someone has brought something to my attention that I feel like takes priority, because I don't want there to be a problem in the practice exam. So bear with me for a second. Please bear with me for a second. Hold on. Okay, page. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. Okay, great. Okay. All right, again, all right. Question number one that I want to address right now. I'm here if I'm acting spazzy, it's because have we met? I am spazzy. My main priority is to make sure that all these kind of questions get answered today. I apologize if I'm going in a funny order. The first question I want to, but we will hopefully get to everything. And good afternoon, Lisa. It's good to see you. Good afternoon, Ruby. It's good to see you. Eh, Somebody wrote in direct chat, "Hi, Professor, I'm unable to see page 7 of the practice exam. Can you please check to see the document? Thank you." That's a very worthwhile question. I'm glad that that person already noticed, and I could see how that would concern people. But now I've just checked right now. I can tell you all, I mean, very legitimate question. There is no page 7. I did take out a page. I'll be more clear about that in a minute, but I mean, I took it out on purpose before I even gave you the document. I took out something that won't be in your final. I thought I had renumbered the pages, but evidently I didn't. When I re-upload something next, whether it's the actual thing or a correction to this, I'll change the page numbers, but let me just make clear to everybody. In fact, let me write it in the chat. Hold on. I'll try to remember. Okay, so that's, but a fair question, because how could you know that unless I just checked? So yes, if you find that you're missing a page 7, you're not missing anything. There is no page 7, the number page. Okay, yeah, no, thank you. Very good question. Now let me say, I'm going to address these other questions too. Let me also say though, just in case I'm already getting nervous. Part of what I wanted to do today was, finish the material, or actually explain more of the material that is in the final exam. That's still my goal. But just in case, quark forbid, if we get very caught up in me answering specific questions or something like that, then that's legitimate. And again, I want to do whatever I can do to have you guys leave here as calmly as possible. But if we end up spending a lot of time answering questions and stuff, let me just remind you all that, or let me tell you all that this morning I went over the final material in the other section, sort of in a methodical way, like the final material on the final exam. So, and I think I covered it. So if quark forbid, we don't get to everything, or somehow we get derailed or something, or if we lose an internet connection, there is a video there. I'll post the video of this morning's class and you can watch that. And it hopefully will be, I'm not planning on that, but I'm just saying, for any material that's directly about the final exam, there already at least is one video on that. I will post it no matter what, or encourage you to find it no matter what. But also try to do it here. Now, okay, now I'm going to try to answer these questions, not necessarily in the order they're being asked, but sort of in the order that I'm, so let me just talk about the final exam again to everybody. Yeah, okay, logistically, and I will put this in Google Classroom. Logistically, the actual final exam is supposed to be posted tomorrow night. I'll be detailed about that in a minute, but it's supposed to be posted tomorrow night around 8 p.m. I'm going to clarify that in a second, but the actual final exam would be posted tomorrow night. It'll look a heck of a lot like the practice exam that you see before you. It will not be dramatically changed. I will admit two things, or I'll explain why there's a page 7 missing or something like that. I'll remind you right now that there's actually 3 sections of Physics 203. Okay, like you are one. There's another section that's taught by me. Maybe you have friends in that class or whatever. But then there's another section that's taught by Professor Walters. So there's 3 sections that we try to coordinate and keep, that are all going to feed into Physics 204 next semester and all that. I'm bringing all that up to say that part of why you had choices on your midterm, and part of why you will probably have a choice or something of some kind on your final, is just in case there's some material that's been more emphasized in his sections and some material that's been more emphasized in my sections, which sometimes happens. therefore you'll get a choice. What I'm really trying to more honestly say to you is you may see something on your final that you don't, that we haven't spent a lot of time here. That's really for their class, and they'll choose to do that. And you'll choose to, and the rest of it, the part that you'll choose will look pretty much identical to this practice document that you have. Okay, so that, and that's really where the page 7 thing happened, to be honest. So don't freak out if you see anything on the final that, and you still could choose it. If you see something on the final that you feel like you could figure out that you like better than ours, like Godspeed, do it. That's fine. But yes, your final will look pretty much like your practice final again, and it'll be posted tomorrow night. Oh, also, I should say, to be honest, it's supposed to be posted tomorrow night, but I am trying to coordinate with Professor Walters. We have to be a little bit more official and careful about final exams when they relate to all sections. So I'm apologizing in advance if there's any little glitch on the timing or something like that. We'll keep you informed, but it's supposed to be posted tomorrow night. What I can tell you is you'll have till Sunday of next week, Sunday night, the 19th, midnight, to turn it back to me through Google Classroom. So you have the full week to work on it. Again, you can work with other people. You can open notes, open interwebs, whatever. No time conditions. Just do it as thoroughly and as authentically as you possibly can. It'll be due back next Sunday. If Quark forbid, and again, this will be, it's all through Google Classroom, or it will be. If Quark forbid, if some glitchy thing happens with timing tomorrow night, and I'll admit, I'm a little nervous that there might be something that might happen. Also, that's a day that I travel to teach. So things sometimes get, if anything, Quark forbid, should get complicated with the posting of the exam tomorrow night. First of all, you'll be informed. But second of all, we'll then extend it and say that you have another day to turn it in. Like it's right now, we're saying you have to turn it in by Sunday night, the 19th. But if something's going to happen, we'll know it, and we'll say that you can have an extra day to turn it in. I'm not planning on that, but I'm just telling you right now, that's as a way of indicating. I'm looking at the, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Sunday the 19th. So officially, if you're trying to plan right now, you should assume that you can start working on your final exam like late tomorrow night, and then it'll be due midnight, Sunday the 19th. You should also assume, again, honestly, that it's going to look so much like your practice document that really you could start preparing it right now. Like you could just take your practice document, take out blank sheets of paper, like not look at the end, start writing down. You could start creating the work now if you wanted to. And when we post the actual exam, which should be tomorrow night, we're assuming that you'll look at it and you won't be majorly surprised or shocked or anything like that. So, but yes, you should assume you have till midnight, Sunday the 19th, to turn it back around. You should again assume that the more you work with one another, the happier we are, as long as when you get to the final moment, whatever you're writing down, that you know in your heart that you actually understand. Not that you made it up, not that it's original, not that you didn't do any research or something, not that you didn't get any help, but that you understand what you're doing by the time you actually write it down to submit it. Okay. And again, once I stop talking about this, I'm going to start trying to help you more and get back to the notes of that final document. But a couple other things, as long as I'm trying to answer. So other logistical questions. As far as I know, you do not have a final practicum exam or anything for lab. If you were to, you would or should have known it by now. I mean, I don't mean that like that, but you wait. Wait. Oh, okay. No, I see this question in the chat too. Okay, lots of, well, I'm going to get to that. But just one thing in the lab, unless one of you tells me I'm wrong in the chat, unless one of you can deny, if none of you has heard that you have a lab practicum or a lab final, and we did used to have them, but sometimes we don't. And in COVID, sometimes we don't. So if you haven't heard that there is one, I can promise you, you won't just be surprised with one or something. I mean, yeah, he would have. Oh, and you have, I get the two sections confused too. Oh, right. Oh, you have, yeah. No, I'm in communication with Professor Wu. He would have told, yes. And it was a decision he made. I remember this now. Yes, you're not having it. So don't worry about that. For Wu, yeah. Now, again, I'm trying to answer all the questions here. I'm not necessarily going at it. Okay, yeah, and that's fine. Lab 6. Oh, and it's totally fine that you didn't do lab 6. I'm glad you did do to some extent lab 5 though, right? I mean, you at least some, yes, because your final for me the meat of it. Well said, Rachel. Right. You start, okay. All right. You didn't do a write-up. Well, honestly, though, like that's almost perfect. Like again, and I'm going to get back to it in a couple of minutes, but the write-up for lab 5 really is, in a way, your final exam, or say vice versa. Like your final exam is testing your understanding of lab 5. So it's good that you, anyway, and that's as far as we wanted to go with the class this semester. I see that, I know there's other questions in direct chat. I'm trying to get to them. So you don't have a final in lab. This week is week of loose ends tying up for me to you while you're working on your final exam. You are right. I mean, some of you are mentioning here, some of you, for one reason or another, like for the bulk, the bulk of you have done the bulk of what you're asked. And I like to think I've done the bulk of what I set out to do. Like the bulk of everything we're done with. And now we're hopefully mostly trying to do this final exam and move on with our lives. But some things did slip through the cracks for all of us. There are some loose ends that need to be tied up. For example, as some of you were mentioning there are some homeworks that somehow I just never got back to some individuals or some homework redos that I never got back, or in some cases, some actual homeworks. And that's totally my bad. And it's totally on me. And this week, while you're doing your final exam, loose ends like that is what I'm uncovering and finding. I mean, obviously they're there in Google Classroom. And I can tell you, you will get the credit for those things. Anything that you did, you're going to get credit for in your grade. And if it's taken me this long to grade, I can also assure you, you should not be worried about, well, what if it was so bad that I should have done a redo and I didn't realize it? No, I know it's taken me this long. So the grading of anything you're getting back now from a long time ago will be generous. Don't anybody worry about now doing some redos or something like that. Assume that I know that it's on me, that if there's outstanding loose ends, I'm trying to tie those loose ends together this week. I'm going to try my best, as I might have mentioned, to get you an Excel spreadsheet before you turn in your final so that you actually know where you stand with everything before you turn it in. That's what I'm going to try to do. And believe me, in all cases, I can't say this enough, especially with this crazy class, and I mean that affectionately, like benefit of the doubt goes to you. Like whenever there's a question, benefit of the doubt goes to you. As they say in baseball, tie goes to the runner, if you know what I mean. I want you to know that I know whenever there's a mess up on my part, I know it. And I know that you shouldn't be punished for that. So if I took forever to grade something of yours, believe me, that gets factored into the grading. I have a larger way of saying this in a minute. I'm going to say that, I'm just trying to answer these questions. So if I still owe you something, hopefully you're going to get back at least the number of it this week while you're doing the final. If you still want to turn in something, you can. But mostly but I wouldn't worry about it if I were you. I would worry about the final exam mostly. Oh, as far as loose ends, that also includes, this is really on me and really bad. It is even true that some of you, I still have exams to turn back. If for whatever reason I got the exam from you late, I categorized it that way, and then it dropped through the cracks forever. And I am aware of that. That's on me. Again, you will get, believe me, when you get your final grade for this class, it will take into account all those points. And you will get it back. You will see it this week somehow while you're doing the final. I have a larger thing to say about all of that, and it will be reassuring in a moment. I'm just looking at the chat to see what else yeah, okay. I'm just looking. Yeah, no, if you want. I see. I'm sorry. I see. No, if you want to do a redo, like if you're pretty confident about the final exam and you've gotten all your numbers back and you're not confident, you want the extra points, you certainly, any of you can do redos. I mean, it'd be hard to do a redo on something I never gave back to you, but if you want to do a redo, absolutely. And you can do a redo right in the same homework portal. I will get the notification. You can do that, like right in the same portal where you put the original thing. You can, don't unsubmit the old, but you can submit a new if you want, and I will see it, and then the grade just goes up. That's not a problem. Also, so yeah, you could turn them in the old portals, and I will see them. That also applies. What does that also applies? To any portal where I said, like, you get points for watching videos. Remember, I mean, we talked about this at length the other day, but just don't forget, that's not too late. If there was some portal that I wasn't going to be in class and I said, you get 8 points, but you get like 15 points if you watch a video, those Oh, no, no, no. Wait, okay, sorry. That's not true. Okay, wait, I'm going to respond to direct. But okay, okay. Any portals where you guys can go through if you're nervous about your grades, which of course I respect. I mean, of course I understand that everybody's always nervous about their grades. I am here to reassure you and tell you that it might be less of a crisis than you think. But no, of course, if you're trying to leave no stone unturned, all of you, you can go back to those game portals and stuff and you can still submit like I did watch the video like you said, so I want the extra points. This is the week while you do finals. This is the week where I go back and look at all these loose ends. And it's really important for you to remember, we're not in a fight. You should do that. Anything you want to do that to try to get more points at this point, of course. Just also understand, I will get them and I'll see them. And I'm on the same side as you of like wanting them to go into your average. It's just a question of that we both fall behind, you and me sometimes. But wait. Yeah. Like, right. Right. I was actually going to bring, okay, even for things like the camera. Now, look, the honest truth is some people in some classes, like every time they've turned their camera on, they've submitted that portal and they said, I turned my camera on today, give me points. And then they did it again the next day, give me points. And I have given them points every time they did that. Like, and yes, you can do it more than once. It's a little tricky now to go back. I mean, I can't do the counting stuff for you. It is kind of like a video game. Like you need to submit for the points so that I can give you the points. If any of you were to, but I know that a lot of you have used your camera. If someone were to say now, I use my camera every day, so Yavram, give me the appropriate amount of points. That wouldn't be the smartest way to do it. Like I don't want to sit here and like do the math and stuff for you. But if you in good faith open up the game portal with the camera thing, and in good faith, you go there and you count up and you sit yourself and be like, I know that there was 18 classes or whatever. Like I look in the classroom, there was 22 YouTubes for this class. So there's like 22 classes. And I know I missed 3, but I know 2 times I didn't have my video on because like my cat was puking in the background or whatever. But I know in my heart that I really know that for the other 15 classes, I had my camera on. Yeah, if you write that out, if you write in the thing, because again, I do watch, I do like, I mean, it would be a hard thing to really lie about, but if you write, I had my camera on 15 times, I want the appropriate points, I will do so. I might not give you all the 15 because it's a little bit like harsh to do that. I mean, a little bit, but I would, yes. If you do the math and you figure it out and you give me some, like, it's not too late for you guys to submit things like that. Like, I know that some of you have been putting your camera on like every day. I do know that. So yeah, I mean, that one would have been a little bit more convenient and easy to do as you went along was sort of the idea, but yes, sure. Anything you guys want to do to try to scramble to get your last points at this point, you certainly can. And I will take them. I'm not saying I won't take them. What I really want to say, oh yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Now wait, yes, now what I really want to say to all of you, and again, I may sound a little stressy right now, or I might sound a little boring or something. I know how everybody feels at the end of the semester. I'm making a choice here that I would like to spend whatever time is necessary to sort of calm everybody down, which doesn't help if I sound this stressy, but I do want to address these concerns because I do think they're legitimate. Let me just warn you again, if we end up talking a lot about this for a lot of minutes, then please do play the video once I post it from the other, play the video from this morning because it'll help you. Like mostly what you should, I think, be focusing on this week is really just trying to rock this final and put this physics together. Honestly, I think you will get a lot more points and impact on your grade and a lot more readiness for physics 204, most of you, if you really do try to construct a physics experience out of this final. And again, that means with other people. Like the more I could hear that a bunch of you were like getting together and actually trying to sort this material out, that would be great. Now, but let me say about points and grades too. Yeah. Okay. And again, I'm going out of order, but I'm just seeing. I mean, right. If there's a homework that you never did at all, but the portal's still open, if you can do it in good faith, if you look at it and you feel like by doing it, it would help you with the final and you can do it like authentically and legitimately, and it warms you up and it keeps your muscles going for the final, sure, do it. And I'll give you the points for it. I mean, technically today's really the last day because it's the last day of classes, but if you do it fast enough, fine, but don't distract yourselves, any of you. What you want to be doing now is really putting the physics together to get the most points. And let me tell you directly, this is something I was going to say today. Like, let me say, for example, there's a question here. I'm not going to read the person's name, but it's an important and pretty classic question. Actually, I'm not even going to read the number, but I'm just going to read the question. Someone wrote in the direct chat, I'm nervous that since I got a blank on the midterm, it's impossible to get an A at this point. Okay. That very fair concern. And honestly, that probably is more to the heart of the matter for most of you than almost all of these other questions, right? Like probably most of you are thinking something like, I got blah grade on my midterm. So and I never got back X or Y or Z or something. So partly I don't know where I stand and I'm nervous about that. Or partly I feel like I do know where I stand and it ain't where I want to be standing. So I'm doomed at this point. Right. And so therefore I want to do anything I can to get more points or to like figure out the system or whatever. Let me tell all of you, really, and I tried to say this on the first day of the class, you won't believe me until the class is over. And then hopefully you see me again for 204. But I'm telling you that we're not in a competition with each other. And I'll tell you, for example, let's say someone got an 80, for example, on the midterm. Let's say someone got an 80 on a midterm, as an example. I'm here to tell you that is not clearly that person who would get an 80 on the midterm, it's not clear that that person can't get an A. Let me say that more. It is not clear that someone who got an 80 on the midterm cannot get an A in this class. It is, in fact, it is clear to me from experience that a person who got an 80 on the midterm absolutely can still get an A in this class. By A, do I mean A minus or A? Well, definitely A minus and probably A. I mean, am I saying they're definitely going to get an A? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. I mean, of course, they have to do well in the final. And I'm assuming that they did well in lab. But let me be as clear to all. Again, I know I sound like I'm yelling. And I know this is also like boring and everything. But but this always happens like at the beginning and the end. Let me be as really, okay, first of all, I'm going to try to get an Excel spreadsheet to everybody before they finish final so they can see where they are. I mean, I've been a little bit behind on that. I'm going to try to put the numbers together so you can see how they work and where you are going into the final. And I'm going to remind you right now how the numbers work. But the basic way that the numbers work is you got a midterm grade. You have a midterm. Some of you still have to get that back too, and that's on me. But you'll have a midterm grade. You have your final grade in lab, meaning like your sum total average in lab, which for most people, usually they don't usually find out to the very last minute. But for most people, that's like a B plus or an A minus type of number. I mean, most people, or an A number. I mean, it's usually a number in the high 80s or the low 90s. So you have your midterm grade, you have your lab grade, you'll have the final grade. Those three get averaged together to make like a test average. And then what happens, and I'm sorry if this bores anybody who does understand this, but often no one does understand this until the end because it's unusual. All of those points that you got for all of the homeworks and all of the game turns, all of them, even the nightly 5-point game turns, whatever, all of those homework points, many of which reflect class participation, all of those points together become one big pile of points, usually like in the hundreds or so. Like it's usually a very high number of points. I mean, it's different from person to person, but then I divide that huge number by a factor, some factor that I don't know until I do all these grades, but it's the same factor for all the students in all the classes. So say, for example, you have like 300 points of homework and participation, all of that. And say this semester, the dividing number is 30. I mean, that's just like a random example, but it's a realistic example. And again, that number we don't know till the end because I determine it by looking at all the numbers. But whatever the number is, it's the same for every single student. The dividing number would be the same for every student. So say you personally have a total of 300 homework and participation points. And then I divide the 300 by 30. 300 is your personal number. 30 would be a number that's true of everybody. Then that makes the number 10. What's the point of that 10? That 10 gets added to your test average to make your final average in the class. Is 10 a realistic, common, like typical number that people get added on to their average? Yes, it is. Some people sometimes get like 14 points added on. Some people get like 8 points added on. But basically, all that stuff you did for homework and everything, which also therefore includes everything you did for participation, all those points are going onto your average, and they're going to add on to whatever you did in the tests. And they usually deliberately, we pick a number. When I say you have 300 points and this year I'm going to divide it by 30 or something, like, where do I get the 30? I get it by looking at all the numbers going in and figuring out a number that will make sure that people will do fine, to make sure that there are at least some A's, to be honest. I mean, it's like a curving mechanism, but it's not technically a curve. It's a weighting mechanism. And I don't know it until I see all the numbers. But your participation, your homework, even these stupid check-ins, every time I said class is canceled or whatever, or I have the other thing, and watch, if you just say yes to this portal, you get 14 points. Those are real points. And why am I giving them to you? Because it's showing that we are connected. We are checking in. You're checking your email. You're understanding what's going on in the class. We're in communication. You're getting points for for staying connected, for making this a community of learning, if you like, for checking in and being responsible and accountable to me and to physics. Every time any of you and I had any kind of communication about what was going on in this class, or anytime you submitted a game turn, you got points for all that, because that's you being in the class. And what I'm really trying to tell you right now, I know it sounds like angry or something, or maybe this is taking more time than some of you would like, but I'm really trying to assure you all that the grading system is designed so that you're largely getting a grade based on how much you were present and engaged and contributing to this class experience. And it's designed so that one midterm grade cannot all of a sudden close the door on your ability to get an A. I guarantee you that if you got an 80 on the midterm, especially because that actually was, I think, for example, 80, I'm just using that number as an example. Like, actually, I think 80 was a little bit higher than the average. If you got an 80, it means you did fine on the midterm. And it means if you average that and if you do fine on the final and fine in lab, and then and you've been here and have done all these homework things and stuff, that will add up to like a 90 or a 93 or whatever. It is definitely not impossible to get it. Now, to get an A, if you got, for example, an 80 on the midterm, you're totally in good running for the A. And I know I'm sounding like I'm yelling, but because it's our last class, again, I want you guys to rock this final. I do want you to take this last week to really finish with dignity and pride and with physics comprehension. So the final does matter. These exams do matter. If you got a 20 on the midterm, okay, that's, then that is a problem, and we should be talking. Like, if you know for a fact that you did, we should at least be in communication, and you should really work hard on the final. On the final, what it means to work hard is to work hard to get the understanding of it, so that by the time you sit down, you really can do it largely without looking. But even if you're looking, your big test is, do you understand for real, in your personal way? Do you actually get what the heck you're writing down? And you'll know the difference between whether you understand it or not. And here's the one honest thing that you just have to know by this point about me or not, is if you really understand what you're writing down and you make an effort to show that, like you show many steps, you use many colors, use confident handwriting, you include diagrams, you do the 5-step method and label things as you go, which a lot of you did. If you really know what you're doing, your pride is going to lead you to want to show me that you really know what you're doing. And I will see that. And if you really don't know what you're doing and you're just kind of like copying things from my solutions or from other people, believe me, we're both going to know that too. You know it in your heart if you know what you're doing or not. And you got to know that I know it too. It's that kind of deal. I'm not asking any of you to suddenly have an IQ that you never had before or something like that. First of all, most of you have higher IQs than I do, I'm sure anyway. I mean, but I'm not asking you to all of a sudden become Einstein, or all of a sudden like read all these physics textbooks and know all this physics that you never did. I'm asking you to authentically understand what it is that you've been trying to understand at your level with this document by the end. That's what a lot of you did on the midterm. And if you do that on the final, you will do fine in the class. The last thing I'm trying to say, I know I'm yelling and yelling and yelling. I want to remind you, the real proof of the pudding, or the real like rubber hitting the road of all this, is remember that I don't have a rule about how many A's I'm allowed or not allowed to give out. I would be fine if every one of you got an A legitimately. If I felt like every one of you actually didn't actually cheat and actually learn this material and got an A, I would be as happy about that as you. And I'm designing a system sort of hoping for that. It's what I want. I'm not against that. One of the reasons I can keep designing systems and improving systems so that you all have a chance of getting an A, even at this stage, is that honestly, between you and me, every semester, somehow, a handful of people won't. And they make the system work for everybody else. No matter what I do, there's going to be some people that for whatever reason, that might be on them or might be on circumstances, might not be on them. For whatever reasons, there's going to be a handful of people. Maybe some of them are not even here right now. Maybe they haven't even shown up to class for weeks and don't even know this, but there's going to be some people who are not going to step up and do what I'm asking and are not going to get an A. And that's what's going to make the A real for all the rest of you. And I'm going to get back to there's something very important about that now. I have to say, I say this every semester at this time, and this is like the end of the bad stuff and then balance the good stuff. My main goal for all of you, I know you guys fairly well. This group, I mean, you in particular, crazy cool group. I'm really hoping to see you again in 204. I mean this. I really hope, and I hope to meet you in life, and I hope to write letters of recommendation to many of you to help you move on, whether it's in the summertime or in graduate school or medical school or jobs. Like, I hope that our paths keep continuing like in the science journey, because I think you guys do have real scientific substance and spirit. And I mean that. I'm hoping that what that also means for you is that by the time the grade gets posted on CUNY first, which will be at the last possible minute, like whenever those grades are due, I usually submit them at the last possible minute, because I don't even ask for your exams back until like basically the end of finals. Whenever your grade goes on CUNY first, what I'm sort of hoping and predicting that for the overwhelming majority of you, you will not see a negative surprise. For most of you, you will see pretty much not what you expect and what you want. Okay, most of you will see the grade that you pretty much want, and you almost definitely should see the grade that you pretty much would expect by that moment. What I don't like is a situation where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, someone receives a horrible grade that they had no idea was coming. Like they thought, especially if I make this many speeches to everybody, right? Like, what I don't want any more than you is for one of you to open up CUNY first, like on that day, and think like, well, he's probably, even though I sort of have spaced out and I haven't really done anything, but he's promised 100,000 times. I mean, I assume I'm fine in this course because everybody else is, blah, blah, and then open up and you have an F. That's a disaster, right? Like, you'd freak out, and with good reason, and you'd freak out on me, possibly with good reason. So one thing I have to warn everybody, I don't expect there to be major negative surprises, but I hope you hear this, and I'm going to ask if you heard this in a second when I say it. One thing to warn all of you, part of my system is, because there's a lot of work this week that we all have to do. By the time I get to the night that I'm going through everything and submitting the grades, hopefully by then I will have given you some sort of spreadsheet. Hopefully you'll have a pretty clear sense of where you're standing even by then. But if Quark forbid, for some reason, I'm looking through all the stuff and all of a sudden I see one of you and I'm like, oh my God, they totally never gave in a final exam, or they totally never gave in a midterm, or something happened, and oh my God, if I were to post a grade for this student right now, it would be an F or a D. And if I realize that and I've got to post all the grades, and all the grades I can't just post some grades. The grades don't go unless I post a grade for every single student in the class. Like, that's a rule. So if I hope you're listening right now. If I suddenly see, oh my God, this person's going to get an F or a D, and I did not see this coming, and I don't know if they did, like, this is going to be a shock to their system. What you'll get instead, I won't do that, is my point. That's too crazy. It might be your fault. It might be my fault, but I don't want to have that fight at that moment. I'm like, because everybody's going to have a heart attack and it won't be a rational fight. So If all of a sudden I discover something very shocking, like something's missing, and seems too late to do anything about it, and you will fail, what I'm going to do is give you an incomplete. And I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to do that anymore, honestly. But this happens almost every semester. One or two of you will see an incomplete on CUNY First. If you see that, do not have a heart attack, please. Do not panic, and do not bomb my house. If you see an incomplete, what it means, what it means is, please politely, calmly email me or text me and say, I noticed the incomplete. Can we set up a meeting to find out what I need to do? And I will say yes, and we'll both be very polite, and we will set up a meeting and figure out what happened. Like, are you actually missing something? Did you never give me a final? What's the deal? And we will rationally, calmly, together, figure out a plan to rectify the situation. Or we'll figure out that you really did fail, and we're both owning up to that, and that's the deal. But we will calmly and figure out together what's going on, and you will have an opportunity, if something was missing or something, to do that thing. And basically, I use incompletes as delay, as stop the clock, delay of game. That's not really the way they're supposed to be used. They're really supposed to be used for, like, if you're in the hospital and you couldn't take the final exam. But what it means is that there's something outstanding. And what I mean is, the thing that's outstanding might be my understanding of what's going on, and I need to find out. So if you get an incomplete, and the way incompletes work, by the way, if you've never gotten one, is incompletes mean that we now have a certain amount of time, a short but reasonable amount of time, like a little bit into the next semester, to for the professor and the student to make an arrangement, and the student to get in, like to basically make a quick contract, and for the student to get in whatever they're supposed to get in. And then once the professor gets it, then the professor submits a change of grade form to an actual grade. What it could be an A, could be a B, could be whatever. And they submit the new grade, and then the new grade becomes the grade in the class. The incomplete is never on the transcript. The incomplete does not stay. Everything becomes just a normal everyday grade with absolutely no asterisk or anything like that. An incomplete is just like a delay of, it is like a stop the clock until we figure out what's going on. And then a normal grade comes in. I'm telling you now, possibly the most important thing I could say today. If you see an incomplete on your CUNY First, it means that I was missing something. That it means we're trying to prevent a crisis. So just reach out to me and ask for an appointment. We'll make it, we'll figure it out, and we will solve the problem. Again, this system works for me because I'm telling you right now, like, it prevents shock. Like, it means, and tons of people who get incompletes then end up getting A's. Like, it's fine for me, I mean, in physics. So don't freak out if you see an incomplete. It means that we just need to do something. One of the reasons I do this system is that, even like with everything else, every semester I end up giving like one or two incompletes somewhere because something happens. And of the two incompletes that I give every semester, one person invariably comes to me right away and says, okay, what's the deal? And then we work it out, and then they get like an A or a B or whatever. But the other person like never comes to me because they know in their heart that they didn't do the final, or they know that they just know that they janked the course anyway. And so they never come to me. And then the incomplete does turn into if nothing ever happens and I never submit anything, then the incomplete does turn into a WU or an F or something like that. So it's just another one of those distinctions between people who are in the course and people who are not in the course. So just be, as long as you're one of those people that's in the course and hearing me right now, if you get an incomplete, do not freak out and do not be upset. Just reach out to me and say, okay, what can we have an appointment? And we'll just deal. I'm going to stop. I know there's other questions. I'm going to stop for a second. I just want to know, can you please put in the chat if you understood that part about the incomplete? Like, did you hear that? Just tell me in the chat. Okay, cool. Okay, don't bomb the effort, right? Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Wishi. Thank you, Direct Tappers. And thank you, Michaela. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Okay, cool. And this totally, okay, great. Thank you, Thea. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, Starnisha. Thank you, Alona. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Leslie. Okay, all right. Now, other thing I just have to say. So, okay. Again, you may have to watch the other video to really get the physics here, but yes. So all right, I'm looking back in the, let me just scroll back to the chat, take a breath here for a second. Let me just see where we are in the chat. Hold on. So yeah, okay, I'm just going from the chat now, and a lot of these are direct tests, but yeah, my big point is all of those points that you got for homeworks, for game turns, all those, they ultimately totally go into the overall average. They totally get added to your test average to make for your overall average. They go directly. Like, I scale them down because you have so many of them, but yeah, they go directly in. And they generally every semester, people will get like a typical or average amount of like 10 points added to their average due to all that. They make a huge, what I'm really trying to tell you all is all that, all the stuff, every time you got any kind of points from me, and especially when they all count. They all count for real, a bit more than you probably could believe until you see your grade at the end. Now, and again, I apologize if you happen to be a person who didn't get back a midterm yet. That is on my. Most people did. The people that didn't, for some reason or another, I got their midterm late. It's not a punishment. It's not their fault. But if I got the midterm late for whatever reason, or if I had a special arrangement, then I might. Then there's some that I did not get back yet. I apologize. You will. And the grading, and I'm aware that that puts you at a disadvantage there, and I will compensate for that. So I'm just responding to that in the chat. And if you put in a question in the direct chat, and if I have responded to it, if you could just let me know, because if you could let me know if my response was responsive, that would be cool. Okay. Wait. Well, and okay, cool. Thank you. How much is each game thing? Well, it's all these, maybe this is not clear. Every single thing you ever, especially all the stuff you got back, which in many cases is a lot, like all those game things, they say how many points they are right on the thing. So you can look. And again, and even your Google Classroom will set up a spreadsheet for you of all your numbers. What that won't do, though, why I keep saying I'm going to hopefully give you guys a spreadsheet, is Google Classroom doesn't know how I do the weighting and stuff. But how much each assignment is worth, it says right there. And they're all different. And I did that also randomly sometimes, like every time I missed a class and you responded, yup, we get it. Like that was points, for example, and how many it was, it said right there. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you. Okay. Oh, wait, here's a new question that I haven't. All right. Sorry. Anything you didn't do, guys, besides the midterm, if you did the midterm, even if I didn't give it back to you yet, and that's on me, if you did it, then you did your job and good, and now move on to the final. Other than the midterm, anything, anything homework wise, game wise, if you didn't do something, there's no deductions. No. And that's why also you shouldn't really waste your time now to go back and do things like that if you didn't do them. No. All of those things, it's all like extra points that go onto your average. Everything you do besides the midterm exam, the final exam, and your lab average, every point that you ever got in this class is like a point that you got for getting that point. You never get deductions, and none of the reason you got a point for every time you ever got a point back from me, and you should on Google Classroom, just do your file and see what work you got back, or what, whatever, any points you've ever gotten back from me for all those game things or all those homeworks, those are like bonus points that get added to your average. If you didn't do any homework, you're not getting deducted for that. You're not getting zeros into your average or anything. You're just not getting those points. So don't worry about those now. It's like everything in this class in a way is extra credit in a way, besides the exams, if that makes sense. So there's no punishments, there's only rewards. And again, not to be silly, but all your points, they're like Mario coins. They just like all level you up, but you don't have to get them. Wait. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, find that day. I mean, yes. You can go back and I don't even think you need them, but yes. Okay, cool. You get, yeah, no. And you guys, you can, if you in good faith, and it's all really is about good faith. And I hope you're seeing that too. This is about, we can all get A's if we in good faith do the right thing. But we have to be in good faith and do the right thing. And so, fine, do it. I mean, but the first thing to do, besides actually studying the exam, which of course I'm talking not at all about here, but the first thing is, honestly, just go. If you have a moment, if you're looking to scramble for points, just go to the game section of the Google Classroom, like the homework 0 game points via participation, and just scroll down and look for any portals that actually apply to anything that you actually did that somehow you forgot or didn't think about submitting. You know, if you did use a video, or if you did ever quote another colleague in the class, you know, and did a multiplayer co-op thing. Like, if you find portals that actually apply to things you did, if you could honestly fill out and say, like, yes, on this date, I mean, especially if you have a screenshot or something, like, it does help to be, you know, that's why a lot of people were doing this as they went, because that was really the idea. But yes, if you find anything now that applies, that you can submit in good faith and with honesty, do it, sure. But the more important is look at how many points you've already gotten, and trust me that you have a lot more than you may realize. Okay. Okay. Something's very funny about what Rachel said. Well, something's very funny about what Althea said, but also something's kind of funny about what Rachel's saying about going to send me a PowerPoint on why she should get an A. I mean, that is funny. But you know, what's also sort of profound about it is, and I know this is unusual in a way, I know I'm screaming and yelling because I sort of have strong beliefs on this. I know every professor does it differently, and especially in science, you're used to a pretty intensely cutthroat approach to grading, which I have mixed feelings about. But think of it the other way, and you'll believe me more on this when we get to Physics 204. And Physics 204, to be fair, is actually harder. In a way, this is prep for harder stuff. But the grading system and my personality and all that don't change in 204. Yeah, that's funny. I feel okay. Yes. And in a way, yes. Like, in a way, if you combine what Althea is saying with what Rachel's saying, in a way, you might begin to understand what my actual philosophy is on this, which you really can't believe until you finish this course, and then you start actually believing it maybe in Physics 204. My actual philosophy is, first of all, yes, you get points as mental breakdown. I had a lot of mental breakdowns being a science student. Okay, I found it very hard. I found it super gratifying. Like, I love where I am today. I feel very, very like honored and lucky and blessed to like have a job in science. I feel very honored and blessed knowing something about science and like having it in my life and in my world. But it is a rough road to get here. I know that. And I think some of the roughness is natural and unavoidable, because science is just naturally and unavoidably hard in some ways. But some of it is hard and stressful for total bullshit reasons that could be avoided if we weren't trying to make such a macho club out of science a lot of the time. I suffered mentally under some of the stresses that I don't think are necessary byproducts of the intensity of being a smart scientist. And I see you guys suffering. Never mind the COVID addition to all of this. So what I'm really trying to say, and I've taught at a lot of different places with a lot of different philosophies, and one thing I do know is that just because things are taught a certain way doesn't mean they have to be taught that way. There's many, and just because people are graded in a certain way doesn't mean that that's the only way to grade them. So one thing is about what Althea is saying, and what Rachel is saying is, yeah. Wait, sorry. Ruby's question is an interesting one. I'm not sure about, okay. But in the direct chat, look, I don't know how, I'm amazed if any of you get through any of this with no mental breakdowns, honestly. And if you make through your whole science career all entirely in this program and on Zoom and in the middle of a pandemic, and you have not one mental moment, you're either so sane that I want what you have, or you're insane in a deeper way than the rest of us. Like, I don't know, like, this is crazy making. But let me tell you that the one way to think about, when I want you to work hard in physics, I'm not saying I want you to get off scot-free. I'm not saying that I want you people, like, I'm not saying I just want to release you to the hounds and have you be blissfully ignorant. or view physics or me as a joke or something like that. That isn't my goal. I do want you to wrestle with physics concepts and expand your mind by sitting there and doing the physics exercises. I mean, I want the muscle of your mind to get stronger around, and I want the balloon of your mind to expand by pumping physics into it. And I want to mix this metaphor like 85 different ways. I want you to work hard and get smarter and work hard with integrity, but I don't want you to waste time on crap. And I don't want you to have mental breakdowns. So I want you to know when you're working on the physics exam this week, I want you to be working for physics. I want you to be working to win, not to be trying not to lose, if that makes sense. Therefore, take Rachel's PowerPoint idea and flip it. Think to yourself, imagine that I want to give you an A. And yes, your final exam is your PowerPoint demonstration of why you should get an A. Just in your in your final exam, just any places where you really feel like you understand what's going on in that moment of the exam, like that particular question, anything you understand, even if you think it's like super easy, like I know how sine and cosine work, but anything that you understand that's physics related in that exam, use that as an opportunity to really strut your stuff and really show me that you get it. How does one show that one gets it? Well, yeah, you think of it as a little PowerPoint, sure. Like add extra colors, add extra diagrams. The surefirest way to show me that you've actually learned something in the course or that you get some hard physics concept, if you really want to know how to show someone that you actually get the trickiness of a tricky concept, what you do is you show them side by side like a before and after thing. Like you can literally write, originally, this didn't make sense to me, or this often doesn't make sense to people because people often think that because MG is pointing straight down, people often think that that would have to be the leg of a right triangle. But I've eventually come to realize that even a hypotenuse of a right triangle can be straight down if the legs are tilted. Like you can say what you didn't used to understand, or what you think other people still don't understand, or what you think is wrong about the concept, and then say, but now I get this. If you can do that in your final exam, that's better than any PowerPoint you could ever do. And that would show me why that you have to get an A. And furthermore, when I'm saying flip the PowerPoint, what I'm really saying is, while you're studying, instead of stressing about trying to prove to me that you're getting an A, assume that you are getting an A, that I want you to get an A, just as long as you chop your wood and carry your water, meaning just do the right thing on the exam, then assume the A is already yours to grab. You just have to get there by just doing the right thing on the exam. You're not in a fight with me. You're not trying to prove to me that you deserve something that you're not sure if you don't deserve. No, assume you do deserve it. Assume you are getting it. Assume I'm delighted by that fact, and then just fill in your job. Kind of like, I assume I'm going to get a paycheck, so now I just show up to class and try my best with you guys, right? I'm not fighting for my paycheck. I'm not sitting here like on trial. I mean, I used to have this problem. The reason I'm yelling now is I can actually totally relate. Like I used to literally spend every day of my job auditioning for my job. That's the surest, fastest way to get fired. Like, don't try to prove, like, and it's in the Matrix. I think there's this moment when Morpheus is like training, what's his name, Neo, like, you know, in some, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the movie or not, but like he's training him to fight, like a fight master. And at one point, Morpheus says to Neo, like, stop trying to hit me and just hit me, right? That's the deal. Like, I promise you, I want you to get an A. You're ready to get an A. It's more possible for you to get an A, all of you, any of you that I'm talking to. It's far more possible for you to get an A than you think. The A is still yours, waiting for you. And you don't have to push me out of the way to get it. And you don't have to push your classmate out of the way to get it. It's yours. It's sitting on a table. Just calmly walk over to the table and follow the instructions on the table in order for you to get your A. And the instructions are just do this exam, like, and do it as authentically and just again, like, and the answers have been given to you. It's just what you really need to do on the exam is just not cheat. And I've defined things so that in a way, everything is cheating, but therefore, in a way, nothing is, I've defined things so that nothing is cheating, right? Like, it won't be cheating if you work with your friends. It won't be cheating if you go on the internet. It won't be cheating if you look at my answers. So what does that mean? It means that cheating is something that you will know in your soul, hate to say it, right? But you know in your heart when you're cheating and when you're not. It's not about like following specific things. It's about just actually try your best to actually understand what the heck we've been trying to put together, show respect for the material, humbly write down that respectful understanding of the material, and the A is yours, and we're all happy. And then we see each other in 204. Wait. Yeah, but this, I think you came in late. Like most people have, okay, sorry. Yeah, I will rush to get yours. The only, sorry. Okay, wait, yes, I apologize for the couple of you who don't have midterm grades yet. Most people do have them. It's just any ones that I got to me late haven't gotten them back. So I will rush to try to do my best to get that to you. I apologize, but I see what you're saying. And I could talk to you more personally about it right afterwards.
I just hope you could give me some instructions so I won't make the same mistake at the final time.
Okay, wait. So
sorry.
Oh, now I know I've taken a lot of time.
I just hope I won't make the.
I mean, look, in my heart, obviously, I am like clergy wannabe sometimes, I guess, and I apologize for that. I don't want to overstep my bounds. But where it does all overlap is I do mean this. I think this is all, I do think it's all spiritual. I mean, have we met? Like, I think you know in your heart if you're doing the right thing or not. And in some ways, I also don't think, and I think that you know that I know, but I also don't think it's even my business really to judge in a way. I don't want to make a million rules about what constitutes cheating or integrity or anything like that. I think everybody knows, and everybody has to find their path. On that, but I have loved this class since the beginning. I again feel a little bit bad that we haven't spent this period doing like the raw and dirty physics that I was sort of planning on doing, but maybe this is more useful for this class. Again, the video will be posted and you'll see on the video. And again, by the way, what I really mean too is, okay, let me say, I'm going to say this two more ways because I do want to see you guys again next semester. No, I do understand. I do understand what you're saying, Xiaowei, and I don't think you will, but all right, let me also say the way I grade, you may have noticed this too. You're all being graded on the level at which you have been an honorable and hardworking and successful physics student. This is a class. This is not a Nobel Prize competition committee. And I don't mean that as an insult. I'm not saying that some of you aren't as smart as people who get Nobel Prize or whatever. And I'm not saying that some of you aren't someday going to get a Nobel Prize. But what I'm saying is that the grade you get here is not on some product that you're releasing to the world and then is being graded on like whether the world is going to, like whether the product is going to break or not, or like put us on the moon or not. You're being graded on whether you were a good student or not. And I think what it means to be a good student of physics, what I think it means to be a good student of physics means always putting your best foot forward, trying to confront the physics material that is put in front of you and getting better and better at it. If you show honor and integrity and actual real mathematical attempt on the final exam, and if you show growth from what you were doing on the midterm or earlier in the semester, and frankly, this is the thing, I think all of you, I think I do know you guys well enough to know that you have, and certainly that you will. Like if you don't get so caught up in the numbers, the system has been designed so that the numbers can work more in your favor than you think. Your job is to be as honorable and show as much improvement and as much integrity and as much authentic comprehension on the exam as possible. Places that you don't understand, don't fake it. Be on, if you can break down what you don't understand, if you can literally specify what you don't understand in the exam, you're probably doing better physics right there than people who pretend to write down things that they think are right, but that they don't understand at all. If you can actually break down and articulate the parts you don't understand, that is real physics. That's what physicists do. And then if you can go to town on the parts that you do understand and really show the difference and show like self-diagnosis, like here, if this is something that's super clear to me and here's 4 diagrams and like a Rachel-esque PowerPoint on this. But here's a part where to this day, I don't know where you got sine and cosine. Like, I don't know how you knew which one is sine and which one's cosine. If you literally write down, this one I believe is sine and this one's cosine, but honestly, I still don't understand why. And here's why I don't understand why, because it seems to me you could make that one cosine and it would still work. If you can literally, like, some of you, this might really work well. Places where you think you don't understand, have an argument with me in the thing. Like, right, instead of waiting till the grade and then arguing after the grade, argue right there. Like, use this as an opportunity to actually flex your physics brain. It's not about the final outcome of the final physics like result or the physics grade. You're being graded as a physics student, not as a physicist. And that's not an insult. And I'm being graded as a physics teacher, not as a physicist. And that's not an insult. So, like, just show, the more you can reveal the specificity of your mind, the more you can actually put on paper what's actually going through your head when you sort through the physics. That will get you an A. And I mean that. That's Rachel's PowerPoint, but just do it on the final. And let me also tell you that if you've enjoyed this class at all, and I hope you have, and I hope I do see you next semester, and that is the last thing I'm going to address, but in your heart, if you ever feel like anything was ever clear in this class, like even on one day, or you even enjoyed it on one day, if you really think about it, it's because I was doing there what I'm asking you to do for me. It's because you can tell that I'm trying my best to give you what's actually in my head on all this stuff. And I'm not, and sometimes that's super frustrating, I'm sure, and super boring and super not what everybody signed up for, I'm sure. But on the moments it works, it's because it's honest. And that's what I'm asking for you on your exam, not outcomes, just honest physics thought process. Also, since we are running out of time, and I apologize, I don't know, again, I don't know, like, if, I don't know if this is like, in some ways, I think this is totally the appropriate way to end with this particular group. I think you guys have so much personality. Put the personality in your final exam. For real, also makes it such a heck of an easier time for me to read and get through. Like, and all the great physicists were personalities first and had a belief system first that came way before the numbers and helped them navigate through the numbers. Yeah, so for the problem I covered last class, which I was going to, the thing that's on the screen now, I was going to talk a lot about it this course, but we've gotten into this. I will put the final solution, and I will post in the video from what I made this morning. And the solutions are in your practice exam too. So yeah, there was more I was going to say, to be honest, but I'll also, yeah, okay. And I will bear that in mind when I grade, you know, I feel a little bad that I didn't say more today, but it will be in the video from this morning. And I think this was just as valuable. So they should watch this video and you should watch that video, and together you have the ending. Yeah, I will. The early video, it hasn't been posted yet, but you can check the early video. I will put it in your Google Classroom. Yes. One other thing that next semester, I'm psyched if any of you have me, and I hope I have you. I did want to repeat. I know it's really unfortunate. Good. I know it's really unfortunate that at least one section of this class is at 8 in the morning on. Oh, yes, that's awesome. All right, that's what I was just going to say. I won't read the person's name, but let me tell you, I know it's really unfortunate and harsh that there's an 8 a.m. section. It is unusual, but I will tell you we did that so that I could make sure to be in the building and do some of this in person, because I'm away from New York indefinitely, so I can only be there sometimes. What I'm trying to say, in most, like a lot will be in the building next semester, but not a lot of what I do. So for good or for bad, I will be in the building at 8 in the morning doing this class. I know that's really harsh, but I can tell you that I will understand how harsh that is for those of you who could possibly sign up for it. I would love to see you there. It will be in person. It will be us. It is harder material, but it's the same routine and same grading system as this and same personality and all that. It would be lovely to be. So if any of you are on the fence, if you can, and I can't, and I have to admit to you now that whatever the physics thing is posted in CUNY First, or in whatever the physics options are that are posted now, I mean, they aren't really going to change. The times and the places aren't going to really change, but the professor names do scramble around until the last minute. We always have hiring and we always have changes of who's teaching what up until the last minute. Like, don't base your whole schedule around assumptions of who the professors are or this or that. But you can assume, I mean, I always do teach 204 lecture. You can assume that the 8 in the morning one is me. Otherwise, it wouldn't be 8 in the morning. No one else is going to do that. And I would love to see you, but right. We'll all look, I know it's hard, but so it has a huge disadvantage, but it has some other advantages, which is that we'll know each other and we get it out of the way early in the day and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, but that one is true. I'm just telling you, the other stuff may change around, other professor names and stuff, but that one that's funny. That's very funny. Wow. Okay. So I know this has been a little bit confusing and a little bit unfortunate. Hold on. One thing, we have 4 minutes. I'm going to make sure to post the video of the other class into your section. You should really watch it. It will really help a lot with this. I mean, it's totally kind of silly for me to start trying to do it now with 4 minutes left. So let me pause for a second. One thing, I'll put the PDF in your box right now. Hold on 1 second. That wasn't for you. I know that looked weird. That was, don't even ask me why I have to do that. Hold on. Ugh. This always happens. Well, it may get stuck. All right, all right. I know this has been a little crazy. Let me say again, if I didn't, hold on. That is my number. I think most of you use it very wisely, and I appreciate that. That's for any questions that come up about the exam or for next semester or for recommendations or anything like that. I know I sound like I don't know why this always does this. Well, all right, no, I'll put this in right after. This is a little bit different from the note that I intended to end on, but I really have enjoyed you guys. What I can't emphasize enough, and I know this has been a little bit stressful for some of you in some ways, I think the fact that you have so much personality really matters. And it's going to matter more and more. I think it matters in life. I think it's a great gift. I think it is important. And I also think that it actually matters in intellectual pursuits. Like, I don't think it's like intellect is over here and personality is over here and that you have to decide between the two. I think the great intellectuals, the great scientists, our great heroes first believed in something like their own emotions or their God or their universe or whatever. They first had a perspective that was quirky and intense and maybe hilarious and maybe absurd. And they lived for that perspective. And then they oozed that perspective through all the details of all their research work and all of their publications and all their academic jobs or whatever else it was. Like, I think that if personality leads, then we succeed. And then we really do leave a mark. And then we really do like get hired for jobs that we never thought we would. And then we really do become the only people that can do our jobs because our jobs become that personality. And I really see something in you, this group, and I mean it. I see something in this group that is super, super awesome and inspiring and important to me. And I want to see it stay alive. And I really mean that. Okay. But, no, you guys are motivational to me. I mean, I hated doing this for a while, this whole Zoom teaching thing stuff. And now I have a whole different belief about the possibilities for it because you guys you really have put a foot forward and really engaged in a weird set of conditions. And you've helped me redefine what a classroom can feel like. And I think, and I want you to be rewarded for that. I want you to be rewarded for it legitimately. So you do your job this week and I'll do mine, and we will all emerge like properly happy. And that's funny. Well, as soon as I get back to the, I don't know how to answer that, but I at least did. I signed up for TikTok, for God's sake, because of this class, and I had sworn I would never, ever do that, or not sign up. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Also, by the way, okay, I'm going to end on the. Okay, it's 4:21. It's 4:21, so you all have to leave and everything, and I will miss you, and I will see you again, and you can text me. Maisha did text me like an hour before class and said, I'm first, and I said, okay, and then I was gonna actually write that in the chat when I got on, but John even beat me, or someone even beat me to that, so I don't know what to say about that, but apparently you're all gonna meet me in a Denny's parking lot and beat the tar out of me. But I will miss you. I do congratulate you in advance. I do wish you the best in advance. I will be hearing from you, and I will see you one way or another down the line, and have a very, very, very happy exam, and then happy holiday, and peace be with you. Thank you. Yes, hopefully see you next semester. Okay, but thank you so much. And I'm going to hang just in case there's questions or concerns. So I'm here, but thank you so much, guys. Oh, thank you. Okay. Okay. And okay, cool. All right. I'm ending the recording stuff, but I'm still here just in case your questions. So hold up. But thank you guys. That's hilarious.